Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Today is the 7th of November. It's another webinar that we are going to do. So today's topic is market analysis, and basically where to start from, right? How do you start? What is the first thing you do when you open a chart and you see it like this, right? So it's completely empty. In this case, we are looking at pound dollar. It was chosen by Rousseau, and then we can pick another chart. And we are looking at pound dollar on a monthly chart, and of course, right, you can change the time frames to go along. So it's basically you're going to do a top-down analysis from the higher time frame to the lower time frame, and not usually my thought process and a few things that I think they may be important to look at before even executing a trade, right? So we should always start from the analysis. Yeah, so here we are. This is the monthly chart. Many of you maybe doesn't even need to be looking at the monthly chart because you're opening trades on the 15 minutes or 5 minutes time frame. But it's always good to have a good idea of where price is in the bigger picture, right? So 3 questions that I like to ask myself when I'm about to start doing analysis is, number 1, where is price coming from? So where is actually price coming from? You get that idea by looking left to try to understand, is it price coming from a level of support resistance? Did price broke new lows? Did price respect lows or broke highs? Like, where is actually price coming from? Second question, it will be where does price want to go, right? So after maybe reacting from that level, where is the next destination for price, right? So maybe if it respected the level of support, maybe where it wants to go next is to the next level of resistance, for example. If by any chance you broke a low, maybe now it wants to go to the next level of, if it broke this level of support, maybe it wants to go to the next level of support that may be underneath it, right? That could be a scenario. And last is, where is price at the moment? So where is price at the moment, right? So is price at this particular point in a good level to try to look for that, for example, trend continuation. If you just broke this low, is price now in a good stage to maybe look for shorts into the direction of the bigger picture that price just broke this low, right? Or some other times price may not be exactly at the right spot to look for that sell and to look for that trend, right? So maybe we should be waiting a little bit longer, or maybe if you are biased to in a bigger picture to look for sales, maybe where price is at the moment, it's maybe actually a good opportunity maybe to look for longs, just because price is not close to that level of important maybe resistance now to look for a sell. So all those 3 questions is something that I like to ask. If they are in alignment, it's basically the answer from all of them are in alignment. Usually you may be getting or price is offering you a great opportunity to catch maybe a really big trade, right? For example, this could be a scenario, right? For example, price just broke these lows. This low in here that you can see, it may give you indication that it wants to go further down. And if price was here, maybe still it was not the moment to look for the sell. But as price is continuing to approach and now it's retesting these highs in here, maybe at this level, it would have been a good opportunity to look for a sell into the direction of the low that was broken in there. So it's everything in alignment, right? So where does price wants to go, or where is price coming from? Price just broke these lows. Where does price wants to go next? Most likely to the next level of support resistance. In this case, on this next level of support, maybe. In this case, we don't really have any data because the pound is reacting from, I don't know, 30-year low from 85 or something like that. So we don't really have the data in this chart. And where was price at the moment? Price was actually now retesting a monthly high as well, a little bit aligned with previous level of support resistance. So this could have been a massive opportunity to look for a sell and hold it, right? If you're looking for the sell in here, maybe it's not the moment because there's a high chance that price wants to retest the previous high. So maybe that was not the occasion at this point. after price reacts from this level, you are in a good state, right? This one could be a good level to look for that massive short. And if price does respect this high, as price is moving down, any short that maybe you can look for, it can be a really good opportunity to maybe manage to catch this rally to the downside, because now price, in this case, for example, if price now is here, where does price coming from? Price now is coming from the reaction is coming from this double top, right? It's just created this double top. It respected the double top. And where price wants to go, most likely it wants to test now these lows that just broke that one. And therefore, if price is offering you, if price is in a good level to look for a short, there's a chance that you can maybe catch that short and maybe hold it longer, because price in the bigger picture, it actually wants to go into this direction, right? But now you are aware that price already reacted from that high, it's respecting it, and it goes down, right? So answering these three questions, it's actually quite useful in order to analyze the market and to be aware always of the bigger picture, right? So overall, you can see that the pound is in a downtrend, and I'm not going to analyze the monthly, otherwise it will take ages to do that. But you can go to let's start with the daily. All right, a few things to consider in here, right? So yes, price, it respected this level of structure. So some things that I would like that I always try to look for is to pick the high, right? So where is the higher high that we can see in this moment? The high that created this low, it starts from there. And I'll start analyzing everything about this high, and I'll be moving and I'll be going all the way down until finally I get to this low, and then I'll do the opposite. I'll go from the bottom upwards to find any key levels that I can look at, right? And when I start from this high, I don't just start from this high, I actually pay attention to where actually this high is reacting to on the left side, to find out if it broke any high or if it's actually respecting a good level of structure. Because if it is respecting a good level of structure, I'm expecting maybe in this case price to eventually go down and even break this low. If price at for example, that we have these highs in here, if price had broken above these highs, then something like this, maybe now I would be maybe expecting, or there was a high chance that maybe price would respect this low and maybe would move higher. So it's important to know always where kind of price is reacting to on the left side in order to have an idea what price may want to do to the next, right? Does it respect it or not, the previous level of structure? So yes, we can start from here. So we have this highs, and now what I'm going to be looking at is just simple support, basically supply and demand levels aligned with support and resistance, right? So I want to try to see at this point which supply has been left behind, and any supply, because we are starting from the highs and we are going down, right? So as price is going down, we are creating supplies, the supplies that are left in behind. If it was the opposite, if you're going from the lows to the upside, I'll be looking at which demands are left behind as price is moving to the upside, right? So that's why I'm mentioning supplies in here. So it's going to be what supplies are being left behind as price is moving to the downside, and maybe we can draw some kind of support resistance that may be in alignment with those supplies, right? And anytime a supply is left behind, I would like to draw maybe some kind of rectangle just to be aware of those in there, right? For example, in this case, price created all this range in here, even fake out for a bit this high, but we did respect the previous supply that was left in there. So this was a supply level on the bigger picture, and now we start moving down here, right? So if you actually take a look now, everything good so far? If you have any questions, feel free to ask, guys, right? Just unmute yourselves and feel free to, if you don't understand some parts of what I'm explaining, feel free to ask me. So yeah. So at this point, daily time frame, kind of we left this supply level, price went there, it took it, and now we kind of created this new one, right? So by supply, it's when you see kind of an imbalance on price. In this case, price going down in a strong move. You can see strong bearish candles in here, and basically the base or the top of that candle, it can be basically considered as a supply level, right? In theory, price will go there and respect that level and drop. That will be usually the case when you see a supply, or the opposite when you have a demand, right? And what you have in here is that price on this daily time frame, we have this one, and instead of price going all the way there and touching it and going down, that didn't happen. What we have is price pausing in here. Maybe this is another supply level. Again, if you change the time frame, maybe the supplies that you'll see, they are going to be a little bit different, or you're going to find out there's maybe something in here on the time frame that managed to hold price, right? But I think it's important to start with a little bit of a higher time frame, for example, daily, and then yes, and then you can go to the lower time frame, and maybe you can find maybe smaller levels in there. Bear in mind that higher time frame, for me at least, it's always more important than the lower time frame. So there you go, right? So we have this supply. This for me is a fresh level. I have no idea at this point when the pound is going to go back to this 1.4 level. I have no clue when that's going to happen. However, when it happens, I'm expecting price to have some reaction from this level, right? Because these highs, they never took the orders from that guy, from that supply. So it's a beautiful zone to actually expect a good move from there, right? Maybe price can actually, because this is a daily time frame, even if price just goes from that supply towards the next levels of support, which is maybe just these levels where these highs are, we can even see already at least almost a 90 to 100 pips move. It's already a good move. If then you are looking for that on the 5 or 15 minutes time frame, whenever price goes there, that can be already a good trade to look for. So keep an eye on those levels. Then what we have, so price creates this accumulation of highs in here, right? So we have basically maybe a little bit of that high, second high, third high. So it creates it starts this new level of structure of this new zone, right? Basically everything has been compressed on the way down, right? We have this supply. So this supply has been picked up by this one. Price continues to move down now. It's a new supply somewhere in there, which price picks up this one. Now new supply is created somewhere in here, picked up by this one. New supply being created in here. Basically these candles in here, picked up by that one. And aside from that, price respected this one, and I think you have this one fresh, right? So this one is maybe still a little bit fresh at this extreme. No, not so big, a little bit smaller. Come on. Something a little bit smaller. So that's that one. I think it may be still fresh. So what price respected? It was the supply a little bit underneath it. So there's a chance that in the future, price may go and respect a little bit that level. On the other hand, so anytime you create a new high, maybe as you can see in here, so if I have a high in here, as price is going away, it creates this kind of this supply level in there, right? So it just created this supply somewhere in here, and as price now is retracing in here, so this high in here is going to create a new supply, right? So anytime that you have kind of a high, that high can create its own supply level, which is basically what you could see happening here, right? So we have this high in here that is respecting this supply on the left side, but it creates its own supply in there that eventually price is going to react. You have a new supply in there that eventually price is going to react, and you have a new supply in there that eventually price is going to react, and now we have a new supply in here that price kind of, it may have left the zone fresh for the future, right? Because price now it just reacted from this one and so on. So, but on the other hand, now we have this new one, right? So with this high, we basically have this new supply level that was left behind, and basically those become basically the zones that I'll be looking for in the future. So I kind of could draw this as this is full compressed in here. So how this could be almost compressed. You can kind of draw a white line if you want, all the way until here. This one, I think it reacted from there. Yeah, maybe this one is still a little bit fresh as well. The top here, there's a chance that one is a little bit fresh, but as you have all the supplies being taken, you kind of can draw it. And maybe when price eventually breaks in above that compression, you should expect price to fill that space and go to the other extreme of the compression, which will be in here. So this is the beginning of this compression move. Eventually, when you have that happening, that break maybe above this high, you should kind of expect price to fill all the way until there. Sometimes within that compression, there's maybe a few supplies that are left behind. Maybe that's what creates a little bit of price to retrace, but eventually that space should be filled. And you continue. So we have this one, now we have this one, basically taken by that one. So it's taken, and now you have this one. This is a new one in here. Right, so we have a new supply in there. It actually managed to break those. So something important as well to notice when you're drawing these supply levels is to see if, like from this high, for example, did you manage to break the previous low, right? So that may gives a little bit more importance or strength to the supply level itself, right? If you manage to break a new low, there's a high probability that then price may retrace all the way back to the supply, and then you can maybe resume the move to the downside, right? So that's important as well to notice. Maybe around all these supply levels, maybe this was the only one that price didn't really break this low, because these ones were broken in there, and this one was respected, but then it was broken in here, and you can see that this is basically how price is creating this bearish market, this bearish trend in here on the pound, right? With new lows being created, price retest creates kind of a lower high without really breaking a new high, which is a good sign, and price just continues to follow through. So this is the next one, and this one is maybe an engulf already up. So this supply was actually kind of broken in there. Price just took the liquidity from here, and this will be something that I'll be paying attention to, as maybe in the future price will not respect this level. It will just break it above it. Price will just continue and maybe go all the way back to that level. So I'm concerned. I'm aware already of this level that was broken. Nevertheless, we still have this supply in here that price can still respect. You can see our price went all the way down. It respecting there. This high never touched that level, so it's a level that is still fresh. Aside from that, we have this supply in there. Price took the orders from there, so that's done, it's taken. And then we have maybe this level in here that maybe price can still react from. We go. We had this supply in there that price already took it, and meanwhile we are getting really close to those, right? So basically we already got all the way back to the lows, and this supply in here was fresh. I think it's where price is reacting now, or got really close there, which is also a reaction from this level. And maybe there's something in here that price can react from. So as you can see, this supply was still fresh. That's where price now created this higher high. To be honest, I think there's a chance that price can still maybe fake out a little bit this guy and go. So as you can see, they still work. These levels still work. One thing to be paying attention to is when price was moving down, and this is maybe a good sign or a good use of the questions that I asked before. So where is price coming from? Where does price want to go? And where is price at the moment? So when you had that break of these lows, right? Showing that price wanted to go further down in here. So if you didn't manage to catch the sell at the highs, anytime you have these big supply levels close to these extreme levels, like anytime you kind of have this big retracement, this could be one of those moments where you can ask, where is price at the moment? And you can see that price at the moment is actually reacting from a higher time frame level supply on this daily. above this level, everything has been compressed, everything has been touched. So this is the next important one. And from here, you could try to find that big opportunity to sell, right? Because now, where is price coming from? Price is coming from the higher high. Where does price want to go? Most likely it wants to go at least to retest these lows. So it wants to go further down. And where is price at the moment? Price is retesting this supply level with a big chance that from here, price wants to go down, right? For on the other case, if price is just in here, if price may be in here or in here, if price is by any chance in here, for example, this is not the moment to look for that big sell, because price in here is not really reacting from the supply level. It's not reacting from the extreme of this size, right? So in this case, if you want to look for any sell, it's maybe just a small trade on an intraday, right? Price still goes a little bit down, but this is just on an intraday. So of course, as you change the time frames, you can look for different type of opportunities. But if you want actually to catch a big one, always be aware of where price is in the bigger picture. So yes, another situation that I wanted to mention is, yes. So if you are aware of that situation of the 3 questions that I asked, and if you are about to look for sales in here, yes, there's a big chance that price can do all this. Now, as price is coming back up, when price now maybe reacts from this supply, it doesn't mean that from here is going to do all this move again, right? Now so what I want to mention is we need to manage our expectations of how big of a move we are going to have from that specific level, right? Maybe you're looking for, maybe when price created this supply, maybe you're expecting one of these highs to come here to give you that short opportunity, to that entry to look for shorts. Unfortunately, price may have never retraced there, so it's just pausing here. So you missed the trend, right? Maybe that happened. It will happen, and it's okay. Yeah. So from here, you actually maybe could have target this low, but on the retest now, whenever price goes there again, your target, if you manage to sell from here, it doesn't mean that it's going to be again these lows once again, right? So now we need to pay attention to what is price, how is price moving to the upside, and what is the space available for that we should expect price to fill, and that will be your target, right? At this point, it's no longer, it wouldn't be again this lower lows at this point, right? So that's something to be aware of, right? It's not just because initially this could have been a massive trade. In the future, it can still be a really good trade on the intraday level, however, with a shorter target, with a smaller target than it was before, right? So that's important to be aware of. And just like that, so I pay attention a little bit to where are those supply levels. You can do the same from maybe starting from here all the way up to the upside. And something that you can also be aware of is, because price may not just react from the supplies or from the support resistance, it may also react from the demands on the left side. So as price was going up, price may have created some kind of demand levels, and those demand levels, for example, this one. So this demand is fresh in here, somewhere in there, and you can basically see that price in theory should have respected this demand on the way down, but it didn't, and that demand kind of becomes a new supply. So when a demand level that should have been respected on the way down, kind of price should have done this. If it doesn't, that usually becomes a really nice zone to maybe look for the opposite, which in this case would be a sell setup in there. Yeah, this demand zone in there. Sometimes you think that the price actually didn't really reacted from there. However, if you actually look into the lower time frame, there's actually a chance that price may have reacted. That may have had kind of some reaction before the drop, right? Usually see that happening. Yes, so yeah, supply demands. Then you can start looking for some level of support resistance. For example, this one could have been a good one. We have important lows being respected in there. Prices broke it, and you can see, right? You can see how price reacted from there quite nicely, already on the way up, and maybe there's a chance that in the future is going to react from there on the way as a sell as well, right? So you can try to find out those important levels of support resistance as well that can help you to identify key levels to look for an opportunity. Now, two things that you can be paying attention to is you may not give a damn about the overall bigger picture of the market, and everything that you want to trade is those 15 minutes time frame. Just open a trade, close a trade, and that's it, right? So that's a scenario. Just trade your own strategy without even overthinking about the bigger picture, and that can be done. However, it will be important to start with this higher time frame, because now, if you are aware that maybe this level of support resistance is in there, you could most likely find a good level to look for a reaction from here, right? So this could offer you a great opportunity on the 5 minutes or 15 minutes time frame. What I mentioned from the other part is, if you don't really want to combine all the analysis, is in terms of, yep, I couldn't care less if price is about to move 1,000 pips to the downside, because I will never even hold that move that far away, right? So that's okay. You don't need to hold price to be in a trade for that long. However, the key levels that you can find in here, as you can see, how price reacts from there. Anytime that price actually reacts from a higher time frame level, there's a high chance that price will react from there. And if this is a daily zone, you can imagine how good a reaction can be on the 15 minutes or on the 5 minutes or whatever time frame you guys like to trade from. So yeah. On the other hand, if you do like the analysis, and if you want to pay attention to the spaces that are available, and if you actually can hold the trade for longer, yes, you can combine all this. Now you could start paying attention to, if you start having lows being broken on the way up, that can then offer you the opportunity to have much bigger targets. We go to the targets in a bit. Any questions so far, guys? No questions?
No, I have no questions.
Does it make sense?
Yes, I don't do it, but makes sense.
Yeah. Is this, yeah, for example, yeah, this supply level. Now let's change time frame. Or we can just start with on this daily time frame from the lows. So we had that one, and this demand, not sure if it has been touched in there. This one was touched in there. So that's nice. And this one now it reacted from that level. On the daily time frame from here on the way up, there's not much information that we can gather at this point. So let me just change the time frame. For the 4 hour, there's maybe a little bit more information that we can use. And for example, in terms of even analysis, if I'm aware that maybe this level is still fresh, you can see this level of support resistance with this supply level. And all of a sudden, if I'm aware that maybe that level is still fresh, that's when you can start making some predictions of, okay, I think that price eventually is going to go and wants to go to take the orders from that guy from over there, right? Or maybe just wants to test this level of support resistance in there, right? And now you can start slowly making some predictions of the next levels that maybe price wants to go, right? You can start noticing that price maybe broke this high. So there's a high chance that maybe price now wants to go higher in the future. And there you go. Where is price coming from? Price just broke these highs in here. So most likely there's a chance that it wants to go now to the next level. If you are aware of that, you can start looking for longs when you see price, when you are looking for longs, and if price now is retesting a good level of support resistance, there you go, or this demand zone, you can look for that big trades to capitalize on it, right? And you can maybe find an entry somewhere in here on the lower time frame, on the 5, 15, can be in those lower time frames. And this is when you can maybe capitalizing a huge trade, because now you are trading into the higher time frame direction. You manage to find a key zone on the higher time frame as well. You fine tune your entry in the lower time frame, and that actually can capitalize in a huge move. But yes, so let's start with this smaller time frame in here. So yeah, price just reacted from that demand level. This one is maybe still fresh in here, so maybe there's a level in there to look for. Again, this particular pair, pound, I'm not really sure where price is reacting on the left side. I would like to see that information, but I don't have access to it. We don't have the data that far behind. We had broken that high, so price want to go higher, and now maybe there's this demand in here. We had that demand where price kind of demand aligned with this level of support resistance with these highs, and price kind of reacted from there. You can see that you could see that these lows that were in here, they never managed to come all the way down in here to pick these orders. So that was one of the supplies, the demands that was fresh. In here, there was maybe another one that price reacted for a bit, and then it broke, and then eventually got broken to the downside. So that was that was that in there. And now another demand level, it was this one, for example. It's a good demand zone. You can see our price reacted from there quite nicely, and with this low, now we have a new demand zone, right? So there you go. We have a new demand that price reacted from last week, from the lows, right? During the FOMC and during NFP, NFP mostly. That one, you see, nicely done. So price created this demand, went up, respected the demand, went up, and now it respects again the demand level. On the way down, it was respecting the supplies. It respected the supply. Maybe this supply is still fresh in there, some reaction to have there, respected that level, and so on. And all of a sudden, you start having this information on the lower time frame. There's maybe a little bit more space to go higher. Nice demand in here that price reacted to. And if you just start focusing even on the extremes, again, there was before that demand, there was this one that price reacted quite nicely in here, but then price went from that demand to the next supply, and it respected straight away the next supply, and then eventually it broke to the downside, all the way to the next demand. And now you start noticing these levels. You start having an idea of maybe where price wants to go next and which levels do you want to be paying attention to trade, right? For example, last week it would have been a great idea for longs when price was retesting this demand zone, right? That would be a good idea. And then after you do all this analysis, yes, you start being aware of where those level of support resistance are, where those supply demand levels are. Maybe you can even draw some kind of trend lines. Trend line is something good also to be aware of, right? It can give you the indication of maybe when you break that trend line, maybe price is about to turn and to change direction from bearish to bullish or from bullish to bearish. So all this is basically without any indicators, and it's just to do the higher time frame analysis to have an idea of where price is and maybe where it wants to go next. Then it's all about the last question, right? Where is price at the moment? That's basically all that matters in terms of what kind of opportunity or trade do you want to look for and that you want to trade actually, and if you should trade it even, right? Because if price at this moment is not in a good level that you don't think it's important to trade, maybe the best thing to do is actually to wait and to stay and to be patient and just wait for price to eventually get to the level that you are looking for, right? The level that you identified on the higher time frame, that eventually price will move there, right? Price will not just stay in the same zone forever, right? Eventually price will either go up or down. And something that you can do also is to define set up some alerts in order to identify, in order to be aware, at least when price gets there, you get a notification alert or some noise that it does, and you're going to be ready to start looking for price when it gets to that level. And then after all this analysis, it's usually when you start looking at your own strategy and looking for the maybe specific patterns that you like to trade, or you look for your indicators for Bollinger Bands, RSIs, moving averages, whatever indicator you like to use for your strategy. And yes, for example, in here, maybe now on the 15 minutes, this is when maybe you would collect some Bollinger Bands with RSI, and maybe you would see that this one is oversold with, and maybe price is actually testing the lower band of the Bollinger Bands, and this could be a good opportunity to look for longs. And now you're going to combine the higher time frame analysis with your own strategy, looking at the lower time frame, and then of course the last part is the execution, right? What kind of execution you would like to do you implement to enter the market, right? That's the third part of the equation. In this case, is it to look for a bullish candle? Is it to, after breaking some highs you go long, or after breaking some kind of trend line? If it breaks the trend line in here, you go long in there. After maybe another bullish confirmation, like it depends. This is what it. Every individual is going to have their own execution strategy as well as their own strategy. But yes, so starting from all this, if you combine the strategy with a higher time frame analysis, you are going to be in a much better position to have winning trades, and I can bet that your winning ratio is going to increase. If you find those higher time frame levels, what is going to also increase, because if you manage to actually enter close to this higher time frame, for example, a 4 hour or a daily level, on the 5 or 15 minutes, it's not going to be just the winning ratio that's going to increase. For sure, the type of trades that you're going to have in terms of risk reward is going to be much bigger, because now what you're going to have is usually price is going to react from a daily level to a daily level, right? So kind of from a daily demand to a daily supply. So you can imagine, like within this almost 300 pips, you can imagine what kind of type of risk reward you could have tried to get if you actually now look for the entry on the 5 or 15 minutes time frame, right? Imagine that your target here is actually kind of those 300 pips move, and if you manage to enter somewhere in here with a little bit of a tighter stop loss, you can imagine type of risk rewards that maybe you can try to combine. So yeah. Any questions, guys?
What do you expect now? Price go up until the next one?
Right now?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So for example, now on the 15 minutes, again, if you were about to ask the questions of where is price coming from, where does it want to go, and where is it now? For me, for me personally, I think price still wants to go a little bit higher. I don't think price has reached its final destination from these highs. I could see price getting or going closer to that supply, and with the chance even breaking supply, even going higher. That's where where price wants to go. Where it's coming from, price actually respected quite nicely this demand zone, another demand zone that was respected in there. It will be maybe a different story if price had broken this low. If it had broken this level, maybe there was a bigger chance that price wanted to go even farther down. So it respected quite nicely during the NFP. However, if you were here, if price was here, this was the moment to look for longs, right? Because we are literally at this low, and it would be nice to maybe catch this move to the upside. So now, if you are aware of all that situation, we can maybe start making the same kind of scenario. As we change the time frame, the story changes a little bit, right? But it's good to be aware of what is the story that we can see on a higher time frame, which is going to be always a little bit more important than the story that you can see on the lower time frame, the 30 minutes, for example, or 15 minutes. But now, yes, now it will be the question of where price is at this specific moment. Should we be looking for longs in here, or should we be looking for sales, or maybe shouldn't we do anything at all, right? Maybe price is such in the middle of the zone that maybe I don't even want to go long or to go short at this particular zone where price is. Even though, for example, even if I'm still biased that price may wants to go here to this level, maybe at this particular point, it's not the zone for me to look for longs. Or maybe there was a specific moment in there that I wanted to look for longs, and after a while, maybe the opportunity is no longer there, right? You can see how price has been behaving today. Yes, we did break this level of structure. Price got quite close there. Maybe this could have been a zone to look for an opportunity. I could see in the shorter term, I could see price getting closer to this level in there. That could be one scenario. Just 1 second. Yeah. So back. So that would be that. That's the situation, right? With the third question, kind of where is price at the moment? Because we don't need to force trades, right? We don't need to trade in levels that maybe it doesn't fit our edge in the market, where maybe it's a little bit of a gamble if we should kind of go short or long in this specific moment, right? If price is in somewhere in here, maybe what you could do is maybe don't even trade at all pound at this point. Maybe just set up an alert when it gets here. Maybe you can look a little bit for a sell, or if price gets somewhere in here, maybe to look for a long. And aside from that, just go look for any other pair that you like to trade and try to see if that specific pair is maybe at a better zone to look for a trade. Yes, but personally, I'm looking still for price to go higher. I think price eventually it may go and break this level. For example, this is one of the supplies that is maybe still fresh somewhere in here. Above this double top, that could be a nice zone to maybe expect some reaction, and then eventually I'm still looking for that, right? And this could be another scenario, right? Even if, for example, in the lower time frame, I may be looking for a short in here. However, I may be conservative with my own target because I'm aware that there's a high chance that maybe price may want to go above these highs and get closer to this and get closer to that level, right? So I'll be aware of that. So that's why it's important to know the bigger picture, the higher time frame levels and the lower time frame levels, right? If a higher time frame level is still fresh and it's kind of that obvious, that kind of it works almost as a magnetic to price, that's going to eventually to attract price to go towards that level. It wouldn't be the best advice to force shorts and to look for that for this big of a move. Maybe just a small reaction from there towards maybe to the next level, and then price eventually can go there. After price reacts from here, if price actually is about to do this again, now maybe it can be the opportunity to look for that for better sales to maybe catch that all the way that move to the downside. Did I answer your question or not, Lucio?
Yes, thank you.
Because I think that alone is something that I believe many of you are not doing it. Because if you're doing it, maybe you would avoid maybe some low probability trades that may not be the best to trade or to capitalize on. Just by looking a little bit at the bigger picture and trying to find out those levels, that alone could help to increase the winning ratio and the risk reward of the setups. I think that alone could do that. Like, for example, this was a demand that was created last Friday. Then price goes here. We open with this big gap, and that's the demand where price reacted from, right? So if I'm aware that on price, where is price coming from once again, right? So price just respected this demand zone, which also respected that demand zone. So at this point, we don't have any demand zone being broken to the downside, which is a good sign that maybe price wants to continue to go higher. We broke those highs, we cannot broke these highs. So at this specific point around the London Open today, if I'm aware that price now is reacting from a good level in here, this would be a good moment to look for a long. Because price is respecting this demand. This demand created this move to the upside in here. We even have a gap to fill. So this could be a really nice zone to look for the long this morning. If that was what you wanted to do, right? With the potential for price to at least even go somewhere in there, or at least kind of retest this next level of support resistance in there. In this particular point, it's a very bit tricky, right? Because at this point, price is not exactly reacting from any particular demand. The next demand is kind of in here. That would make or force price to go all the way down. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But yes, so again, fine-tuning those entries, just looking at these levels, that could originate you then, or help you to get the big moves, right? Instead of entering at low probability zones. Again, this was a nice demand of today as well. During the day, price already reacted. That's it. The move is done basically from there. Set from that, yeah, it's a low probability trade for me at this point. Anything that I'll do here, regardless if it is a buy or a short, it's a low probability trade to do. In my case, yeah, right. For example, on the pound dollar, I think you remember when I did this analysis a few weeks ago about how this move, right? So we had all this compression. Again, you can go into the war time frame, you can find out about all those supply demand zones that taken. All of a sudden, everything is compressed. And when everything is compressed, there's a high chance that price wants to fill out that move. That started with the compression from here all the way in there, right? So this is that second part of the analysis that I kind of mentioned. You may not need to be 100% aware of this. Maybe just want to trade your own setups on the war time frame, enter the target, and that's it. However, if you start combining a little bit of more analysis and exactly what price is showing, that's when you can kind of correct one of the best trading opportunities, right? Because you could kind of divide this pound dollar in these two rectangles, as I mentioned when we did this. So I did this analysis when price was in here, right? That price, there is a high chance that price want to fill this compression, and around this level, it will make a decision to either respect it or break it. And if it breaks it, another decision is going to be made, which is it's going to go all the way to the next rectangle, which starts with this. It's divided by this level of support resistance that we have in here, almost with this double top. This was space in here. So it either breaks at that level. If it doesn't touch it, I will be looking for sales. Where did the price go to the next wave supply in there? And then, yes, it finally reaches target, which is this next level of previous resistance, now support. And from this point on, the target is done. There's no more space from the highs. There's a high chance that price may just want to eventually go higher and break these highs, because these highs actually are already an engulf to the upside of these highs. So actually, this is actually an indication that price wants to go higher. And there you go. Where is price coming from? Price just broke these highs. So where does price want to go? Let's start with that question. Price just broke these highs. There's a high chance that price wants to continue to move to the upside. Where is price coming from? Price just reacted from an important level of support resistance, which means that there's a high chance that now we can do this. Now it will be about, depending on where price is, if price is somewhere, for example, if price is in here, price just broke the lows, right? This wouldn't be the moment to look for big longs, right? You kind of need to wait until price kind of reacts from this level to actually expect to look for a massive opportunity to look for longs. Up until this point, your focus should still be to look for shorts in this scale, like in this kind of 30 minutes on 1 hour, or even 4 hours. This is actually a high time frame scale. A good level to be, for example, the test of that supply level that is in here. That would be a good level to maybe look for those sells, to look for it. And that's it. Move is done, target is reached, and from now on, after price reaches this level, you can start maybe looking for those ones. As soon as you start breaking highs, there's even more confirmation that price wants to go all the way back to here. And any opportunity to look for longs, because the next target from this level, it would be at least to break this high to the upside, or eventually to get to that zone. So you could continue to look for longs. As price is getting really close to that level, that's when you start being a little bit more cautious in terms of looking for longs, because price now is getting really close to the kind of final target and to this big supply level. So at this point, to look for longs in here, that shouldn't be your mindset, or at least in this bigger picture, right? So you had opportunities to look for longs in here, you have maybe opportunities to look for longs in here, and I don't know, as price breaks this level of resistance, maybe there's some breakout strategy in there to still look for longs in there. As price is getting close to this level, you should be cautious in looking for longs in this higher time frame. In here, maybe start looking for indication that maybe price is about to actually do the opposite and look for sales. So yeah, position yourself in a market like this. It's going to help you tremendously to have a higher winning ratio and to avoid some losing trades. And then to be in a position to maybe capitalize on a bigger move, right? On a bigger move again from here to here. Yeah, so that's what you want, right? You want to create scenarios that's going to help us for the odds to be in our favor, not the opposite. Any questions about this one? You can do another one if you want. Kyriakos, do you consider a little bit something like this, or?
Yeah, I do. I actually do.
Do you think it's beneficial? Do you think it's important?
I think it's beneficial in the long term, yeah.
Because even if you trade on the lower time frame, it's important to be aware of these moves. Yep. So yeah, you can pick up another one, like something random. All right, for example, let's take a look at Meta. Like, it may work the same way for the stocks. These are big gaps on Meta. But they kind of still work the same way. Right. Of course, anytime we have a gap, it's a little bit a different story, but it will be something similar, right? So I don't really know. I don't think we have any data on the left side for this high. Maybe that was all-time highs. Yeah, that was all-time highs in there. So if you start with we start from here, we can start doing the same kind of exercise, right? And you could even try to see that eventually there's no surprise that we have all this compression to the downside, all this actually strong move to the downside from here, and maybe even somewhere in there, because as you can see, as price is going up, it's taking all the demands are being taken on the way up, right? So as price is going up, it takes the demand level, it takes it. So all this becomes a big zone of compression. This is another one. This is one of the last demands in there. Price took it. It even broke these lows in here. This was the last demand. So this is basically the last demand zone. That one. And as I mentioned before, a demand zone that should have been respected, and it's not. So price should have done this. However, it didn't. It worked quite nicely as a supply. You can see that price respected quite nicely that level, and it paused in there. On the same token, I think there's another supply somewhere created in there, in alignment with the previous amount, right? So you can kind of start it. This would be one of the supply levels, and you could start the same exercise from that level. You can literally kind of draw. This will be kind of a supply level in there that price didn't react to. Price did react from maybe this level in here, as I mentioned. That was that demand as well. Then supply took supply, and you have this new supply, right? Imagine that you have sold at this supply level. There you go. You got the big gap to the downside. Imagine the type of trade that you would have it like this. This actually, it looks like a nice level of support resistance as well. I've touched a few times in here. You can see our price paused in there a few times, even on the left side as well. So all the demands have been taken. Actually, this was one of the last demands that was not taken yet, this one. And price still reacted from there, but then it just dropped. Like you can still see this double low never reacted from this demand. Price reacted from there towards the next supply, all the way down. Yep, all the way down in there. All these looks compressed, taken. You see this demand taken in there, compressed, and we have this level. So this was one of the lows that could have worked out as a zone. Just the same kind of thing that I did in there on the pound before. You kind of could separate meta maybe from this low to that, or you can even kind of almost extend it and push it all the way there. So if you are aware of this, if this is the kind of level that you define, maybe I'll define first from that level. This is the type of target that then you are going to be looking for. As soon as you break maybe below this low, all this is compressed, and you can have a massive trade from here. So all this looks compressed to me, even maybe all the way down until here. And as soon as you break this low in there, maybe even you could even use this one as a trend line, right? You could even use this one as a break of a trend line in there to give you the entry that you maybe would look for. But yes, after the break of this low, you kind of have your own, you have your target. Your target would be somewhere in here, with the potential for price actually to go even farther down all the way until here. So there was a chance to hold price much farther down, at least until then, right? And then if you actually then zoom out a little bit more and more and more, maybe could even look for ways to keep holding price, right? Because this demand was taken in there. So that's done. This one as well, it was in there. Imagine that you are aware of this demand and you have got long in here. This was a beautiful zone to look for a long, to be honest. Price had just broke it, even create this move, which is perfect. This was a beautiful zone to look for an entry when it occurred back in 2019, when you had that massive bullish trend in the indices. As price was going down, a little bit similar to the S&P and Nasdaq, to be honest. Price was just going, price is respecting, so took the demand level, took another demand zone in there, all these in there as well. So it cleaned out this area that was compressed in here. So no surprise that you had this strong move down. This one, it's maybe a good level to see price, to see some reaction somewhere in here. So below this below, it's maybe one of the targets that I'll be looking for, almost for sure on this meta. I could see price going all the way down, all the way somewhere until there. So $70. Yep, I could see price going there into this demand zone, or respecting a little bit closer to this level of support resistance. Yep, that's maybe where I'll be looking for. If this is real, if this actually move happen, I wouldn't be surprised if price goes somewhere close to this 70, 71 mark, to that demand zone. And there you go. Now price can retrace first, price can go and clean this, fill this gap, and eventually I believe it's going to go somewhere in there. There was a similar setup a similar analysis that you could have done on the S&P since the beginning of the year to see maybe the clear indication that we're about to move down all the way, to make all this move to the downside, to be honest. Yeah, so you are aware of this. Now it will be the question of where are you? Where is price? Where is price coming from? Where does he want to go? And if you are in the right moment to look for a trade. Yeah, for example, at this point, is it the right moment to look for the sell? Maybe it isn't. Maybe it will be better to maybe wait for price maybe to retrace back to this level until maybe you can look for that entry, maybe towards there, or even to test that level. So yeah, it's all about then asking that question, and when price actually is in the right moment, then when you should be try to be more aggressive even to capitalize more in the move. On the way down, if you take a look in here, let's maybe delete this. Is as price is going down. All right, nice supply in there. So this could have been a great entry. So it just broke this low, and we have this rate of supply in there, where price reacted from. This could have been a really good entry. This was another supply, which it looks like price left behind. So it will be a natural zone for me in the future to look for price to react from and maybe go down. So this level around 185. I have no idea when Meta is going to go back to this level. I have no clue. But whenever it does, I don't trade Meta. But if this was a chart that I would trade an asset, I would be definitely looking for an opportunity somewhere in there to look for a sell. Then maybe somewhere in here as well with this level of support resistance, there's maybe something in there that you could look for, an opportunity to look for a sell, and so on and so forth. So we want to start drawing those levels that there's a high chance that price will react from. Yeah, that's basically is going to help you to fine tune great entries. Yeah, if you just do this exercise, I think it will be super beneficial, to be honest. Yeah, let's pick another one. 1 second, let you look at Facebook. At this one. This is Tesla, right? Let's look at Google. Right, Google, quite similar. This was one of the demands. So where do you think now Google is going to? Without me doing anything else, where do you think it's maybe a next good level for Google to go to the downside as a target? Any recommendation?
Maybe the previous low, which is I think 79.
Just this low, or which low? This one, or?
Yes, this one. Oh, it's not 79, 66.
From COVID as well, right? That's kind of where the indices are going to as well. Yep, that could be a good one. We just took out these lows in here. Price kind of reacted from there. Yeah, now maybe looking for maybe reaction from here to look for a continuation to the downside. That could be interesting. However, is price just took out these lows in here, which can be interesting. This can actually be maybe a demand zone in there. There's maybe a little bit more room to the downside. Yeah, that level, right? A little bit aligned with that high. Yep, that could be interesting. Maybe we're testing the supply level or the next level of support resistance. I was looking for price to get a little bit closer to that level. Price respected this highs, so that was not the move. But yeah, but again, a little bit similar actually. These indices, all these stocks, they kind of moved in a similar way. Yeah, you can do the same for the indices. You can do the same for gold. You can do the same for oil. You can do the same for any other asset that you trade, right? For example, the euro index that I mentioned, I've been talking about that for a long time, right? It's basically just like that. I think you mentioned, if you've seen during the morning calls, engulf here to the upside, price went up. Where did price go to? It went to the supply level. And then where did price go from the supply level towards to? It just goes to the next demand zone, right? Because we already had all these double lows in there. Natural zone, all this looks been taken, so this will be a natural zone for price to go to. And now it's going. And now let's see all this compression as well, as you can see. There you go. Right, if you are aware. So where is price coming from? Price just came from this supply level. However, where is price reacting to at this point? Is actually reacting from a really good zone, and there's a high chance that price can now move to the upside. When price gets here, then we'll see what's going to happen. If price kind of still respects it one more time and then price goes down, or if price kind of breaks it, right? But you're getting close maybe to a good level to look for a sell. For example, anywhere in here, it wouldn't be the right moment to look for a sell. On the way down, you could still try to look for a sell until we kind of get to this demand zone, right? So anywhere in here, you could attempt to look for sales. As price is getting close there, you can see how price starts getting rejected and going higher. So the sales become a little bit more risky until finally kind of price touch it. And now you can look for longs. You can literally shift your mind and start looking for longs. At this point, maybe you can still look for longs until price eventually gets closer to this level in there. When price gets close to that level. So today, for example, that could have been the approach, right? Look for the retracement and then maybe look for the continuation to the upside in here until maybe, there you go, the next level of this supply zone in there. So if you're aware of all that, then you can maybe fine tune your strategy to look for that entry, and there you go. And you have your trades. So yeah, those three questions, I found them quite useful when I do my analysis. Again, where is price coming from? Where does price want to go next? And where is price at the moment? Yeah.
I have a lot of difficulty to find where the price is coming from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just start paying attention to, like in this case, the lows, right? Where is this kind of low, the low reacting from? Or even you can go even a little bit further back, where is the low reacting from, or where is the highs reacting from? In terms of finding the opportunity, right? In this case, if price is somewhere in here, when you ask that question, maybe you want to pay attention to, okay, where this highs reacted from. Did it break any structure, or is reacting from a good level of structure? In this case, it's reacting from this fresh supply level, maybe a little bit in alignment with some support resistance. So if that's the case, it's kind of, there's no more space for price to go higher at this point. It's a good zone that price reacted, and now maybe it could be, it would make sense maybe to look for a short in here. Yeah, so where is price coming from, right? So it's just to pay attention to the extremes. Just look at the move. For example, the move right now is from here to here. So that's kind of the move that you have. Is just to pay attention to, okay, where did these lows, which is the other extreme where price is, did it reacted from? Yep, it reacted from a good level. It reacted from this demand zone, right? If price was here, oil price was here at this point. Where is price coming from? Price just broke all these walls here on the left side. So there's a chance that maybe price wants to continue to go further down until maybe again it reaches somewhere this level in here. So that's usually how I try to look at it. Like, does it make sense? Where price reacted to? Like, did it broke structure or not? Or is it respecting a good level? If it is respecting a good level, there's a good probability that maybe price now wants to go all the way back to the other extreme, which kind of it will be these highs in here. So yeah, that's the way I try to look at it. Yeah, like dollar index was a similar scenario, right? So when price was reacting from here and kind of was seen here or whatever, like where is price coming from? So we pay attention to where these lows are reacting to, and it looks like these lows are reacting from these lows, right? This important level. On the day you can even see that was a good demand zone. So if price is reacting from here, literally actually just broke a high, there's a chance that maybe price wants to go higher. There's a high chance that can happen, right? Yeah, or when price kind of it's reacting from here, like it's getting rejected. It's like price is approaching this level and gets rejected to the downside. Before that, we just broke these lows. So where is price coming from? So price is kind of respecting this level of highs, and we just broke these lows, right? So where is the next opportunity? There's a chance that price wants to actually go further down. Then it's a question of where we are and if we can take advantage of, and if where we are at this point where price was, is it a good level to look for that short to maybe capitalize on all this move. All right. So those moments of where we are, they don't occur every single time in the chart, right? It needs to be in a specific. We don't control that, right? There are specific moments where price actually is offering the right moment to capitalize on the bigger move. Some other times, price is like price then goes away from that, and anything that we get, like if by any chance we start entering a little bit more in the middle, it's a little bit more tricky. There's a chance that price may spike up and then go down. Maybe you were short from here and just got stopped out in here. So it becomes a little bit more tricky to look for that entry. Either way, you should still kind of be with that bearish mindset and trying to capitalize on the continuation in this case, this example. So yes, like starting from the lows or from the highs, trying to pay attention to how price is moving away from that level. Is price leaving many zones fresh or not? For example, if we add in here, right? So the way price moved away from here to the downside, this low was this high in here that was created. We just broke that low, so price went to go down. And this high in here, it kind of got short. It's for me, in my opinion, it's still short. I think price could still go a little bit higher to get there. It didn't want at this point, but this one in this particular moment, it was a little bit shy to that level. It should have gone a little bit higher. So I'm aware of that, right? So I'm aware that price left kind of still these levels in here to be picked up in the future, and at this point, we broke this low. Like that's why when I was predicting how this moving here on dollar index during this beginning of October, middle of October, I was always bearish on the dollar, right? Because for me this one was a break of these lows. It was even broke into that level, and this will be the natural target. And the lows, instead of going all the way there immediately, no, it paused, and then it reversed. So there's still space to go down. That was my target. So where is price coming from? At this point, it came from, like, for example, if price is here, where is price coming from? At this point, price came from, it broke a low, right? It didn't respect the next level of support, or it's still not respecting, or it's still not touching the demand. So it's in the middle. It broke these lows and it didn't reach the next level. So it's in the middle, which means that there's still space for me to look for shorts on the dollar. Now, if price was in, right, and now kind of where does price want to go at this particular case? If we consider from the move to the upside, I know that there's a high chance that price wants to go above this high, because this high was a little bit shy and should have gone a little bit in there. So I know that in terms of looking for the sell to capitalize on this move, I'll be most likely waiting for price to take this high, and after that happens, that's when I'm going to look for that sell opportunity, to maybe look for how this move to be done. This was during the CPI data, I think so. And then you have the strong move up, and then price just completely rejected. And there you go. After price goes above this high, that's when I'm ready at this point. I'm ready to look for that sell. Before that, I was not. Even though this case, price didn't really react from where I wanted. So sometimes that may happen. That's for me. But can you see like how the story it keeps changing as we go through, depending on where price is in this particular moment. It depends if it is here, depends if it's in there, depends if it's in there. It depends. It depends if it was in here at this point. Like at this point, where I would still be looking for sales for price to go all the way until here. So I will try to still look for sales in here to attempt to this level. In here, price makes a decision, either respects this level or breaks it, and so on and so forth. Do you understand? Can you see how it works, Rocio, a little bit?
Yes, a little bit, yes.
Because like market is dynamic, of course. Then if I was even about to combine different time frames in here, it would be even a little bit more complex. But yes, trying to find out, trying to start answering those questions of where is price coming from and where it wants to go next. That's already good. A good practice to have in order to have at least maybe a bias where price wants to go, and to find good opportunities in the market. Yeah, for now, for me, dollar index, I'm looking for price to eventually continue to the downside, maybe getting closer to this level, or I can even see the scenario of these lows being taken on dollar index. Yeah. On the other hand, are we in a good? So where are we now? So where is price at the moment? Are we in the right moment for that sell? Maybe price can just do this, or maybe price can do this instead. Right, and maybe if you're looking for that sell in here, maybe going to be stopped out, right? So at this point, we are in a tricky situation. Just broke this low. I can still see a little bit more room to the downside on the dollar. However, we may be in a tricky moment to look for that sell, right? If I'm aware of that, I will be a little bit more conservative. Maybe I'll be in and out at this particular stage. Because I know that there is a chance that price can easily just move a little bit higher. Maybe we'll test these levels in here and then maybe go down, or you can just literally go down from here. So it's all about trying to find out then where is the highest. It's all about expected value, the EV of the trend, right? And the right moments to look for the trend. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Are you going to try to implement this in your own analysis? Yes or no?
Yes. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, when you do it, you can send me some examples on Slack as well, right? I can review it for you. I can tell you my opinion or my view on the scenario. And even if you don't share it with me, it's by practicing that you're going to learn, right? Then ask questions like, yeah, why this didn't happen? Like, why did this happen? Now you make it once or twice and it worked out as I predicted. That's a good sign, right? You're getting better at it. Or if it doesn't, it's always about having a curious mind when you are analyzing the market. Like, keep asking questions like, why did price did this? Why did price did that? What would I like to see happening? When this happens, what happens usually afterwards? That's how you get better at analyzing the market. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. If you don't have any other questions, I'll just wrap up the webinar. Feel free to, yeah, I'll challenge you. I will challenge you to practice this, to do it on your own, do your analysis. You can share with me, as I mentioned, but keep asking questions, right? For me, these three questions are super useful for me. There's maybe some others, and then I keep asking myself as I start seeing more things. Yeah, that's how it happens. All right. Anything else?
No, not for me.
All right,
All good. All good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for attending. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the morning call. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.